How are you? Nice to see you. Today we're going to speak about Parashat Re'eh. It says, "Re'eh anochi noten lefnechem hayom baracha ukala." I give you כאילו blessing and a curse. What does it mean, baracha ukala? I want to start with a nice story that will give us an understanding to what is our shiur all about. There was this car driver.
Racer?
No. Taxi driver. And he worked in Israel. And one day he was in Jerusalem, right? And he's taking the last person comes down from his car at around 1 a.m. in the morning, very late, next to Hadassah Tzofim hospital over there. And he wants to wrap up and go home. But then from far he sees a woman that stands in the bus station over there, and she cries. And he opens his window just to ask her, "Do you need to go anywhere? I'm still available. I can do it any place around." She says, "What can I tell you? I just found out that my mother passed away in the hospital, and I need to go to get to my house to arrange the funeral. So I'm looking for a cab." He says, "Okay, where is it?" She said, "I live in Tveria." Now, Tveria is very far from Jerusalem.
Oh, yeah.
It's like 2.5 hours drive, just to one side. And so
It's on.
he didn't really want to go, and he's okay. Are you willing to pay? She says, "Yeah. Every car that I'm stopping, they want 600 shekel, 600 shekel, and I have only 300, and I don't know what to do." And he's like, "No, I won't do it for 300 shekel. It's like almost nothing for such a long drive." He turned off his car and he wanted to go, but then he was thinking about her, and he says, "Okay, maybe I'll do this chesed for her." He turns back and he opens her and says, "Okay, I'll do it for 300 shekel." Okay, and he goes, and they come to Tveria. It was already 4 o'clock a.m.
That's quite a drive.
When they came to Tveria. So she goes home and he's like, "What should I do?" He smells a lot of fish. I don't know, early in the morning, I guess, fishermen, they go to fish or something. There were 2 fishermen over there fighting about 1 box of fish. Oh, huge box, a lot of fish inside. So this one wants this amount, that one wants that amount. So this cab driver, he's like, "How much you willing to pay for? How much are you going to give it for?" And they're like thinking what to tell him, and he says, I have 300 shekel. If you don't mind, I'll take it. Okay, just give it to him, 300 shekel. He says, "Whoa, the amount usually was double, if not more." He says, "Okay, already I made a profit from this thing." He wants to go. He wants to get out of the town, and he passed a hotel. There was this tourist over there with all his family. And he waved him. He wants to ask him a question. So he lowered again his window. "We need to go to Jerusalem. Can you take us to Jerusalem?" "Okay, I'm going to Jerusalem anyway." So this tourist is asking him how much. He told him 600. 600, fine. We'll go with 600. They go all his family to the car, and they make a whole trip to Jerusalem. And as he comes to Yerushalayim, this guy is taking out $600 plus another 50 tip, and he gives it to him. He says, "Are you crazy? I asked you for 600 shekel, not $600. And he's like, No, we really liked your service. It was a nice trip. We enjoyed. I want to give you were fine. This hour of the day, whatever. He's like, No, you don't have to. Stop. He argued with him. He said, "Okay, fine." He took it and he went back home happy. What happened over here? When somebody makes a chesed to somebody, what happens? Hashem all of a sudden sends such a parnasa. Listen, the day before and I guess the day after, It's the same car, the same amount of hours usually, plus or minus, same, everything is the same, but when somebody makes chesed to somebody else, Hashem pays doubles, triples, whatever. And this is this parsha. Hashem gives us blessings. It can turn into blessing, and God forbid, it could be the opposite. It's all in our eyes. It depends how we act, what we do. It's so interesting. Midrash Chumah starts this way. Mashal, okay? It's like an older person stands in a crossroad. And there's two ways for people to go from there. One way, in the beginning, it starts smooth and nice, but he warns them that towards the end, you have all kind of obstacles, you'll have all kind of thorns and problems. It's not going to be an easy way. And the other one looks like not comfortable way, but towards the end, it becomes smooth and becomes comfortable. And he says it's better you take this way. Yeah, it's not so comfortable in the beginning, but towards the end, you'll see how it becomes comfortable. In a way, when people keep the Torah, the mitzvot, it's not an easy mission. It's hard. It's a lot of mitzvot, and a lot of people are like, "Why do you need this burden? Why do you need this headache? Why do you need to? Keeping Shabbat 100% is not so easy, and keeping tzniut 100% is not easy, and keeping kosher 100% is not easy, and all kind of laws that we have in the Torah. Who needs these?" So to the Gentiles or to people who don't observe the mitzvot, it looks very smooth. You don't have to work very hard. It's easy. It's comfortable. Why not go this way? But towards the end, it's not going to be so easy for them. But the Torah promises that when you start, it may not be so easy, but will be much more comfortable. It says, "Uvacharta b'chaim." You have to choose life. So we know that there is a lot of people, when they come to this world, what are they looking for? They're looking for wealth. Once I'm going to be rich, I'm going to be happy. That's what they think. Okay? And we know, and you know, that wealth could be a blessing to some people, but wealth could be also a curse for other people. All kind of researches that they do, people who win lottery, they're not becoming happier people. They have so much problems that at some point they're like, I wish I wouldn't win this prize. Who needs this headache with all the problems that it makes within the family and all kind of stuff. So also wisdom. Sometimes, when you become, you go to university, you go to college, you learn, you get knowledge, you know stuff, you get stuff. It's very important, you get a lot of advantages. But it says also, Marbe, Yosif Da'at, Yosif Machor. The more you know, the more you get knowledge, the more painful you become. Oh, I wish I wouldn't know this, I wish I wouldn't know this. And strength, sometimes, it's an advantage. It's very good that you're strong, that you're able, that you're capable. But sometimes when you try to boast around, see what I could do, I could float, I could, compete, I could do all kind of stuff that people boast around that they do, and then they get a hit or something that happens to them. Even the Torah, they say, tzadikim yelchu ba, righteous people will go and succeed in it, ach poshlim ufoshim yikashlu ba, and people, some other people, they can fail in it. The Torah can mislead them and they can fall. They can make mistakes. Even something good like Torah could. All kind of examples which we will give soon. So, because in this Parashat Re'eh, we're talking about a lot about money issues, like you have to give maaser, you have to help needies, you have to keep shmita, all kind of things that regarding money. This is what I want to focus on today. It says about Yitzchak Avinu that he went to live in Gra, in Plishtim, next to Avimelech. Okay, And he had so much success. The Plishtim didn't understand. They worked this land for years and years and years, and they never have so much blessings. This guy comes, all of a sudden כתוב, ויזרע יצחק בארץ ההיא, כן, אני גת, וימצא בשנה ההיא 100 שערים ויברכהו השם. 100-fold, כאילו, times 100, you get the blessings. They didn't understand. What did they think? Maybe, as his mules, they plow the land, okay, maybe there's some secret, they ask all kind of agronomes, they understand in agriculture, to come and check the leftovers of his mules, when they to see what exactly feeds them. Maybe there's some secret over there that it gives him success, that he has so much blessings. This is, and this is the nature of the world. When somebody has success, everybody tries to find out what is the reason of this success. Let's say somebody opens a store, and it becomes a hit, it becomes successful very fast. A lot of clients, a lot of people, a lot of money that they get, and so a lot of people try to open similar kind of stores with a similar kind of merchandise, similar kind of setting, similar kind of everything, so that they will have this success also. But this is a Plishti way of finding out what is the success, because we know that Yitzchak got his blessings nothing to do with what kind of mule he had and what kind of food he gave them and how many hours he worked and how much he invested in this and how much they rested and so on and so on. Amar Rabbi Chia, there's a story in the Gemara. פעם אחת, once, he was a guest in somebody's house in Lodkia. And this guy was so rich. It was unbelievable how rich he was. They brought in front of Rabbi Chia and the host, the wealthy man, a table from gold, pure gold, that 16 people had to carry it. Imagine to yourself how heavy was this table. Imagine to yourself how expensive is this table. And some 16 chains of silver are coming out of it. And on top of it, there's all kind of plates from gold, and cups from gold, and bowls from gold, and jugs, and jars, and whatever you want. It's very expensive. Think about one piece, how much would cost you one piece. And then you see, and he's like, hello, he's asking his host, how did you get there? Meaning, he didn't ask him, in what investment did you put your money? How many stocks you bought? And who is your broker? And he didn't ask this type of questions, because the wealth of this person definitely didn't come from this type of stuff. He asked him, what was the merit? What exactly did you do in this world? What kind of sgulot did you do? So you got this kind of a wealth. So Rabbi Chia, Judaism, we understand that the wealth doesn't come on a person just because he acted a certain way or he imitated the success of his fellow friend, or no, because he did probably something. He told him, I was a butcher, and every animal, special, tasty, good looking and healthy animal that would come to me, I would say, this is for Shabbat. I would keep it for Shabbat. Because he honored it for Shabbat, Hashem gave him so much honors, it's unbelievable how rich this person became. So, another example in the Gemara, people that live in Alexandria came to Rabbi Yehoshua ben Chanina. We spoke so many times about Rabbi Yehoshua ben Chanina. He was a very, very smart man, philosopher. And they asked him, what should a man do in order for him to become rich? So he answers them, Yarbe b'schora, he should increase his business, he should make business. Ve'isa ve'iten be'emunah, all his business he should do faithfully, he shouldn't cheat on people, he shouldn't lie, he should do it, the right way. And they asked him, but a lot of people did that and they didn't really have so much success. And then he answered, ויבקשו רחמים ממי שהאושר שלו. מסכת נידה. They should really pray for this success, pray from Hashem to help them, and this is when Hashem is coming as a partner to help them. שלמה המלך says in קהלת, לא לקלים המרוץ, the race, it's not only for light people, ולא לגיבורים במלחמה, strong people, like easy for them to make a war, ולא לחכמים לחם וגם לא לעניים עושר. He says that the wisdom doesn't come upon a person just like that. He says whoever Hashem wants him to be rich, for this purpose Hashem makes him smart for this purpose only. Now Ramban explains. Sometimes we see though that in other aspects of life they're very ignorant, they don't know how to start. But for this type of business, let's say a shoemaker, he wants to make shoes, Hashem gives him a wisdom how to buy the best leather, where to buy it, how to make how to decorate or how to make this shoe, how to sell it, where exactly to put his booth, where exactly to sell his stuff. Hashem makes him smart for this purpose. If he knows some other stuff, depends on him, depends how much he invests and he knows, but that's what they explain. But Israel, usually they say, are above the law. The biggest example that we know is Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu was not supposed to have kids with his wife. And Hashem, in a way, changed the stars for him, the way that they go, the circle and everything, and change his luck so that he'll be able to have children. There is a famous story in the Gemara about Shmuel and Avlet. My kids, when they were young, I remember I told them once, I showed them once this story. Shmuel was a Moa, okay? And Avlet was a Gentile. Once they were talking and a group of people passed in front of them. Avlet, he was... Right. He was looking at the stars and knew what could happen to people. He looks at one of them and he says, this man is going to be killed today. Shmuel tells him, if he's a Jew, I don't think that whatever you say is right. They say, let's see. They go to work, they work the whole day, and as they come back, they see that this person that he showed that he might die today, he's still with them, he's alive and he's okay. So Avlet was very surprised. Usually whatever he forecasts comes true. And Shmuel comes to him and tells him, can I ask you a question? There was any good thing that you did today? He said, he didn't want to sell in the beginning, but then he said, yeah, there was something. We are a group of people, we go to cut wood, we gather a lot of wood and then we come back and then we sell it. So as we go as a group, everybody takes sandwiches, food with them, to work. And what they did was something nice that they did. If somebody lacks food from home, they don't want to embarrass them. So they collected, they put it all together, and then they serve from this. So the one that was supposed to die, he saw that one of the people he doesn't have his food. He didn't want him to be embarrassed. So he made like he's taking his bread from him. He didn't really have anything. And then when he divided it to everyone, he gave from his portion and he gave it to him. And so Avlet tells him, can I see something? Can you show me your wood, your pieces of wood that you cut? He said, sure. He opens this bundle of wood and he sees a dead snake over there. He says, you're right what you said. As you were cutting those wood, you killed that snake. The snake was supposed to kill you today. But because you made a chesed, okay, not to embarrass another Jew, Hashem made you a miracle and this snake couldn't harm you. And you killed him. So it says in our parasha, and this is the reason I'm talking about this, כי פתוח תפתח את ידך, okay? לאחיך, לענייך ולאביונך בארצך. That's what it said. You have to open your hand, you have to give charity, you have to help out other people. And there was this factory that made glass. And they had this executive director over there, it has real names here, so I guess it's a true story, by the name Gershon Weizmann. This Gershon Weizmann worked there for a while as an executive director, but from some reason something didn't go right, and he sees that this factory loses money and loses money and loses money. He didn't have a choice and he had to declare bankruptcy. Before he declares bankruptcy, one of his friends suggested that he has a special advisor that can come and help him how to reorganize, how to put back this factory on its feet, on the right track, so that it would continue make profits. So they called this man, Mr. Chefetz, and they asked him if he can come and help this factory. He said sure. He comes to this company and tries to work out, and they see that within a month, it takes time for companies to, within a month already, the sales that usually try to sell, the sales increase instead of decrease, whatever it was till now, it started to increase. And after a few months, they see that they can make better sales and people buy from them, and it goes on the right track. So usually, slowly, the deficit, disappeared, and found new ways, new paths how to trade with more companies and more people and more this. Started to really do it the right way. Fine. As they see that they have a lot of profits now, and in a way they don't need this advisor anymore. So Mr. Weizmann calls Mr. Chefetz and tells him, "Can I ask you, what is your success? What exactly did you do to put it back on the right track?" He tells him one word: humility. What does this have to do with it? He tells him, I want to tell you a research that was done, okay? Research that was done, they checked 1,500 companies, very, very successful companies that in the last 15 years had only profits, okay? And they keep, it's not only profits, the profits keep increasing their profits all the time. And they're tripling their profits more than all the other biggest companies. So these 1,500 companies, some did go through all kind of crises. It wasn't always so smooth and nice for them. Did have to go through all kind of crises. Some, at some point, had to change the manufacture line because it didn't go the right way. Some had to increase or decrease the amount of workers, sometimes to fire, sometimes to hire. Sometimes the whole line of the industry over there, they had to change. They had to reduce the economical activities or increase. Depends. They had to do all kind of things to change it. So basically, this purpose of this research was what causes the success of these companies. So for 5 years, what this research was done, and all the data showed that what the most obvious thing over there was how this executive director of these companies, how they conducted themselves. Everything is on top of the executive director of this company. They found to know that if this executive director is a humble person, is modest, okay, there is a lot of chances to success in these companies. If he doesn't, it just falls. It's a whole big failure. It doesn't work out. And that's very interesting, because people who start, they want to become famous right away. They want to have a lot of kavod, honors, respect. So basically they put them as the target, okay, and not the company. They want right away to have fame. They want right away to expose themselves to the media. They give right away all kind of interviews and speeches, and every second word is I, me, and everything is around them. Ego. People who have a lot of ego, because they just look at themselves, the company loses, doesn't have so much success because of them. But people that are very humble, that are modest, that care about the people who work under them, they have the most chances to succeed in their businesses. And that's very interesting. He gives here an example. There was this person by the name Lee Iacocca. He was the president of the company Chrysler. And he was a very, very talented man. He was really, really talented. He even wrote a bestseller book that he was trying to write over there how to do a right economy, how to do. But then from some reason there was some kind of a turn, and he started to lose ground. There was a turn in his personality. Once he started to become fame himself, he started to think about himself, not about the company anymore. All of a sudden he lost ground, and he had to sell the company. He even started to run for the election. He wanted to become the president of the United States, but nobody wanted him anymore. People who came to the peak of the... So this is the respect. Respect disturbs people, disrupts people from the target, and then they don't have any common sense. They start to spoil any good decision that they do, and it doesn't work out. So it says, Shlomo Melech says, לפני שבר גאון ולפני כישלון דבר רוח. In Mishlei he says that if a person becomes very, very arrogant, this is when his failure starts. And Hashem says in Masechet Sotah, it says, כל אדם שיש בו גסות רוח, people who are very, very proud of themselves, very, very arrogant, אין אני והוא יכולים לדור בעולם. Me and him, okay, we cannot live together, because Hashem cannot stand arrogant people. And therefore they fail, because if Hashem doesn't help them, they have a problem, they fail. So this Mr. Chafetz tells him he had to leave, and so the next day this Mr. Weizmann goes around in his company and he asks people, so how was it with Mr. Chafetz? What did he do with you? What exactly was happening? They say, we like Mr. Chafetz so much. He would come around and ask people how they are, and welcome them in, greens, and says good morning. And whoever needs help, he asks him, how can I help you? What can I do for you? And if he sees somebody that gets tired, he offers him to rest a bit. And then one of the workers, his son, had to go to the hospital, And he was calling himself Mr. Chefetz. Maybe you go home, maybe you help your wife, she was in the hospital the whole time. Tomorrow you'll come, don't worry. He orders for him a cab. He calls him afterwards, so how is he and how is everything? And then the next morning, when this guy comes, he comes early on time and he's like compliments him, kol hakavod, with so much pressure, you're on time. He says, why should I come to work? This man really cares for me so much. Why? All these people said that there were no many mistakes done over there because they get compliments and they get good feedback from him and praises all the time. They really want to be good. They really want to give their 100%. They really want to do their best for this company. And you saw what was the reason of this success. The reason of this success wasn't exactly economical thing that this person changed, but you saw that he put a lot of effort, thinking about the people, how they think, how they feel. Once you don't have this arrogance, once you care about the people that working under you, other people also would like to give back and try to be okay, try to be good. And this is where he saw was the success over there. So see how important it is to be positive, to think the right way, to sometimes change an outlook. He says, not successful people, they say, I cannot allow it to myself. When the successful people, they keep saying, what can I make to allow it to myself, for me to afford it for myself? The first people, when they say I cannot allow it or I cannot afford it, they give a statement. They don't even, they make a statement. The other one are making a question. What can I do to make it affordable? How can I work on myself? What can I do? The first one he gets away from responsibility. He says, I cannot do it, it's not for me. The other ones, they think, so what can I do? How can I change? What can I add? Well, these are successful people, they say. And another research that they've done in the United States, they check this kind of phenomenon. They say that in one of the schools, they made a test to the kids, maybe SAT test, IQ test, stuff like that. And when the results came, the students said that there was a mistake in dividing the classes. There was some kind of a mistake over there. They had to take this test again all over. And at this point, they put all the weak kids in a certain class and all the others in other classes. And something interesting happened, that these kids, that their grades were not so successful, they were not so genius, these kids, but from the grades that they got, it looked that they're geniuses. And once they got that they're geniuses, even though it was a mistake in a way, all of a sudden their grades improved very much. And they showed that they can do all kind of researches, they can do all kind of works, they can give out all kind of projects, they can do. And it was unbelievable. Their achievements, became so much better than what was before. And so the teachers didn't understand what exactly happened, and they saw, once these kids saw that they're able, that they're capable, they went on the right track. They started to give, they started to do. Another research like that happened not research, but an incident that happened in one of the schools. There was this teacher that came as a substitute, for one of the teachers that was sick, and he got a class. He started to work with them, and they got very good marks. The principal didn't understand. It was a very, very hard class. The kids, the students, they were not so brilliant, they were not easy kids, and he didn't understand how they got such good marks. And so then he realized what was the problem. Next to their the teacher, he has this kind of a roll book where names of students, their marks, their grades, where they are located. So next to each student was a number. He thought this is their IQ level or something like that, and he didn't know, but apparently this number wasn't the IQ or something, it was just the number of their room, where they are located. He thought that they are so brilliant, that they are so genius, and he worked with them accordingly. And they really succeeded, the kids. Once they felt that somebody trusts them, that somebody believes in them, that they really improved very, very much. So it's very interesting to see when people, they change their way of looking, all of a sudden they do get a success. I want to go back to the Gemara and to continue with the examples from there. There was a very, very mean man that is described in our Gemara. His name was Tornosophos Harasha. Tornosophos, he was a very cruel general that was in Israel under the leadership of Adrianus in the time of the rebellion of Israel against the Romans. And this Tornosophos, besides being a cruel general, he was also a philosopher. And in the Gemara, there's a lot of arguments between Rabbi Akiva and Tornosophos. It was after the destruction of the temple. So, Tornosophos Harasha is asking Rabbi Akiva, listen to this, איזה מעשים נעים? של הקדוש ברוך הוא או של בשר ודם? Which deeds are nicer? Hashem's or human beings? So Rabbi Akiva says, human beings. And Tornosophos tells him, what about the heaven and the earth? Such a creation